Okay, it is Tuesday, November 12 at para po dun sa mga mahihilig mag-Christmas countdown dyan, nako, 43 days to go na lang bago magpasko. Feel mo na ba yung holidays?
At parang bigla ako na-stress yung sinabi mo yan.
O gastos kasi.
Pwede bang may magpauso na wala ng gastusan pagdating ng Pasko?
Hindi kasama yun, syempre.
Sa mga inaanak natin.
Oo.
Hindi rin hindi nakakabawas ng stress na may digital wallet.
Digital wallet.
So sa mga inaanak ko, na-scam po ang ninong ninyo.
Ako naman parang hindi ako naggaganon. Gusto ko pag nakikita ko, gusto ko yung inaabot ko.
Ay, hindi mo kilala mga kamag-anak ko. Ibang mga iba itong mga
Persistnet, ganon.
Oo. Kulitin ka pero hindi pa rin mapapakita.
Gusto ko pag inabutan ko ng ampaw, may lambing, may yakap.
Talaga?
Oo, lalo pag mga bagets.
Qualifier agad.
Pipila daw, sila direct daw pipila lahat.
Ako Oo. Pag inabutan mo ako, may kapalit din yan.
Ang abot ko na lang sa'yo yung ating delight of the day, which is ang bagnet kare-kare.
Isa lang talaga,
nyo ba sandali nga? Ano bang nakaharang? Ayan. O, diba?
Bagnet kare-kare. Grabe, bagnet, ang dami niyang uses, ano?
Oo, talaga naman.
May bagnet pizza, bagnet burger, bagnet tacos, yes. Diyos ko. Meron ng laing pizza, bagnet pa kaya.
Ito, gusto ko to. Gusto ko tong kasi may eggplant. Ano tong green na to? Pechay ba to?
Pechay yan.
Ayan, gusto ko yung mga ganyan. Gusto ko yung mga ganyan na food.
Hindi ka diet ngayon? Hindi ka ba fasting ngayon?
Maaga ako magbe-break ng fast kasi maaga rin ako mag-fast ulit. Umad tayo today. Babawi tayo.
Ayan.
Medyo nagpasaway tayo kahapon. Bawi-bawi
yan
lang.
Yan si Tita Denise. She eats to live. She does not live to eat. Pero ikaw ba anong favorite bagnet preparation mo?
Bagnet lang, yung in-air fry. Ganyan.
Yung rekta lang talaga?
Oo. Tapos yung juices of the pork lang talaga i-enjoy mo with some salt. O kaya minsan pag meron kang, let's say, sarsa, o kaya minsan toyo, palag.
Toyo kalamansi.
Oo, toyo mansi.
Konting sili. Ayoko ng lechon sauce. Pili ko inimbento yung lechon sauce ng mga taong may kailangang itago sa mga lechon nila. Alam
mo, may kwento ako sa'yo, pero off-air na lang. Tungkol sa mga lechon sauce na yan.
Alam mo, naalala mo dati commercial ni Sarsa ni Mang Tomas? Yung low budget na commercial na noon. Yung kahit anong gawin niya, magpapakita si Sarsa ni Mang Tomas, mag-aabot sa kanya, na napaka-surreal. Kasi para sa pakialamerong kaluluwa, na kahit anong gawin niya, may mag-a-appear sa tabi niya at sasabihin sa kanya, Sarsa ni Mang Tomas. Parang kahit anong problema mo sa buhay, ang solusyon,
Sarsa ni Mang Tomas.
Sarsa ni Mang Tomas. Sira tsinelas mo, kailangan mo, wala kang mahanap na glue, Sarsa ni Mang Tomas. Parang mga ganun Ay, wala akong ulam. Ay, wala akong sabaw. Lahat na lang kayang solusyonan ni Sarsa ni Mang Tomas. The secret to world peace, ika nga. Pero sige nga, matikman nga natin itong bagnet kare-kare.
Sige, mo muna yan. Tikman mo muna yan. Habang tinitikman mo yan, silipin muna natin ang ating mga storya on social media. Unahin natin on The Philippine Star, envoys and consuls to help Filipino illegals in the United States. Oo, teka. Yung mouse natin. Okay. So dahil nga nanalo na itong si President Trump, nagsalita na. Teka, ito, i-click natin yung link.
Sa tingin mo, kakayanin yan ni Trump talaga?
Na ano?
Tandaan natin, hindi lang Pinoy ang may mga illegals, ha?
Totoo naman, oo. Pero nagsalita kasi dito ang ambassador to the United States, Philippine ambassador to the United States. At ang sabi nila,
Babes
Romualdez, correct. Na ang
pero hirap tawagin ng ambassador na Babes.
Oo nga
O
sige, Jose Manuel na lang.
Babes.
Ibuuin na natin. Natutulong daw sila. One of their top priorities daw will be, gathering, all the consulates will be gathering in Washington to talk about the situation.
Kasi totoo lang, yung illegal, the word illegal itself, medyo, na talaga yan Pero kasi nangyayari, illegal muna magsistay, tapos ayusin mga papeles para maging legal na sila.
Correct.
Ngayon, pag may green card na sila, dyan sila naging MAGA. At sa totoo lang, mas MAGA pa sila sa mga Midwestern Americans.
Baka MAGA na sila kasi may K na meron ng card, gano'n.
In fact, ang laki ng Filipino support, ha? For Trump.
Merong basahin natin yung mga comments. Mga comments ng ating mga netizens. Madadagdagan ng mga TikTokers at vloggers ng Pilipinas.
Bakit?
Pag may mga umuwi daw, ewan.
Ganun ba yun?
Ewan.
Gawaing balikbayan.
Ito, nakalagay, sabi ni Daniel Tiga, good news sa mga TNT, mararamdaman na nila ang golden age sa Pilipinas. Oops.
Wait. Golden age sa Pilipinas, kasi si Trump promised a second term niya will be the golden age of American history daw.
Ito, golden age sa Pilipinas daw ang mararamdaman ng mga
so dito sila.
TNT. Oo.
Bakit golden age? Dahil yung kulay kasi niya. Mukha siyang bronze ngayon, pero pag nasobrahan,
iba na talaga ang tinta. Si
Mm.
Larry Lachica, sabi niya, Philippine ambassador and consul should request and process the papers of law-abiding Filipinos overstayers who contributes to the economy and society of the U.S. to be legal citizens, not to process papers for deportation.
Alam, big deal kasi sa mga sa mga migrante na legal. Kasi sila pinaghirapan talaga nila, through the process. Tapos, pag naging citizens na sila ngayon yung naiinis kasi pero merong iba na pumasok illegally tapos nakakuha ng green card the easy way. Mga ganyan. So, may mga puot sila sa mga, kumbaga, hindi dumaan doon sa through the wire.
Ito, meron isang umaalma nang nakalagay, sabi ni Jaytona Camels. Iba talaga pag Pinoy, ambassador ng Pilipinas, parang sinasabi, Trump, unahin mo ang mga Pinoy, samantalang yung ibang ambassador, tahimik lang para sa mga lahi nila.
Ay, hindi natin alam. Pero marami na rin sigurong kanya-kanyang mga quote-unquote minorities. Siguro tinanong lang siguro naman yung ambassador at nag-react siya at kaya naging headline. Kasi paano mo i-deport lahat yan? Just ilang milyong ang mga illegal. Sa isang, halimbawa, mga Mexicans nga lang, ang dami-dami na yan. Sa East LA lang, napaka-poro sa mga
isang
borders.
Isang state pa nga lang, sobrang sandamak na eh.
California pa lang, Texas pa lang.
That's right.
Tingnan natin. Pero sabi nila, ito daw ay challenge kay Trump kung mapapanindigan niya. Kasi, halimbawa, to be a dictator, sabi nila, takes so much work. Kasi Trump daw ay walang focus masyado. Madali siyang ma-distract. So tingnan natin kung hanggang saan. At alam natin, ang trabaho ng American President, pinakamahirap sa buong mundo.
Ito, silipin naman natin ng ating next story. Ito, pinag-uusapan natin, ulan nga ng ulan, ang dahil pumapasok na bagyo sa Pilipinas. But Pag-asa is simplifying reporting. Ito, nasa onenews.ph to. So, kung dati raw, usually, puro mga text lang, okay na. Now, they're putting in more pictures, yung mga, may visuals na, kumbaga, yung nilalagay nila. Ito, ang nakalagay dito, sabi ng isang Pag-asa senior weather specialist, si Raymond Ordinario, they are aware that technical jargon needs to be removed to make weather information appealing to the general public. Ayan, sabi niya nga, dati daw, kung puro text, ngayon daw, puro graphics na, may pictures, they're following the trend, sabi niya.
I think it should be conducted along with media organizations at yung KWF, yung Komisyon sa Wikang Filipino, para tulungan yung pagsasalin at magkaroon ng unified language, kumbaga. At lahat ng networks dapat, pati na rin mga social media influencers. Kasi halimbawa, ginawa na nila ng color coding, yung rainfall warning.
Yes, that's
Pero
true.
marami pa rin nalilito. Ano nga ba yung pinakadelikado sa lahat? Yung red? Ano ibig sabihin ng red? Lumikas na? Yellow, mag-ready, orange, mga ganyan-ganyan.
Yes.
Tapos, ang term natin para kasi sa anumang whether typhoon yan or tropical storm, bagyo pa rin eh. No? Otherwise, parang sama ng panahon lang siya. Pero pag nag-develop na siya into, let's say, storm, severe tropical storm, typhoon, bagyo pa rin ang tawag natin sa ganyan. So, ano ba yung mga maaring gawin? Halimbawa, trough ng low pressure area sa mga ganyan. Anong ibig sabihin? Technical jargon, pero ang ending pa rin yan, ang ibig sabihin pa rin, halimbawa, ulan. No? Trough ng low pressure area, trough, mga ganyan, may pagsasanib ng mga mainit na hangin, malamig na hangin. Pero, pag sa mga science people kasi, merong specificity na hindi mo pwedeng i-compromise. No? Pero pag transmit ba sa tao nito, ang kailangan lang naman nila ay uulan ba o hindi.
Oo.
Meron dati si Mahar Lagmay, ang sabi, meron siya yung babaha ba, parang ganun, or uulan ba. Meron siyang app for that, no? At maaari mong tingnan sa mapa kung ano yung mga areas maaring magkaroon ng mga certain overflows, etc., etc. At halimbawa, napakarami ito at bilang nag-report din sa weather dati, aba ay napakalaking bagay na mga, halimbawa, yung angal ng isang direktor, na alala mo yon. Okay, pag pumasok ng Philippine Air Responsibility, ano ba ibig, marami pa rin mga kababayan tayo na akala nila, pag pumasok banda rito, which is technically par na yan, akala nila dito yung tinatamaan. So may mga ganon. Pero dapat bang sabihin pa yon? Nakaka-alarm ba? Mga ganyan. So dapat magkaroon ng pagkakasundo. Overall, across the board sa mga reporting sa media, one unified language, kumbaga.
Okay. Ito naman, speaking of unified, naku, nagkaisa ang iniisip ng mga tens of thousands of Chinese college students when they went cycling at night. That put the government on edge. Yan po ay nasa CNN.com.
China, alam mo naman, partner, ay may allergy sa mga massing of people.
Ayan. So, nangyari ayan. So, 30 miles daw yung binike ng mga estudyante nung gabi. And nangyari to sa Kaifeng, which is considered to be an ancient city in central China, sa Henan province. So, historic site to, known for different things. Nandiyan yung mga historical sites, also their food. Pero, nagsama-sama sila nung Friday night. Tama ba? Nung Friday night sa Zengkai Avenue. Endless flow, nakalagay dito, endless flow of young cyclists, and the police tried to maintain order. Kasi alam mo, actually nakakatakot yun. Is kahit ano pang rason for the gathering, kung ganyan karami, medyo...
Magdududa ka
Yes, and the risk of, accidents and all that.
Tapos, naniniwala ka na ang goal lang nila ay maghanap ng xiaolong bao or soup dumplings.
That's what they're saying. Oo. Ayan, Zhengzhou. Ayan na. To prevent students from joining the cycling crowd, some colleges and universities in Zhengzhou even imposed restrictions on leaving campus according to accounts shared by students on social media.
Pero nasample noong 1989, parami ang tao sa Tiananmen Square hanggang isang araw, nag-decide ang mga otoridad, uwi na kayo. And they responded in the harshest manner possible.
Alam mo, pag nandun ka, if you go to the square, kunyari may makita kang mga, tour guide, they won't even talk to you about it.
Correct. At hindi mo nga mahahanap sa internet sa China yun. Hindi mo pwede i-search. Kumbaga, binura na nila sa kasaysayan nila yan. Pero ika nga ng kasabihan, sa ikauunlad ng bayan, bisikleta ang kailangan. Yan ang sabi dati ni...
Nagbabike ka ba?
Yes.
As in?
Ngayon nga lang, wala nang hangin.
Wala nang hangin?
Wala nang hangin.
Natatakot ako mag-bike. Gusto ko mag-bike. Kaya lang masyado akong praning kasi feeling ko, I will be a law-abiding citizen staying on the bicycle lane.
Ay, kahit gawin mo yan, hindi mangyayari yan.
Pero kasi feeling ko, ako ang medyo titilapon pag merong mga nagpasaway.
Nakakapag-dunk ka nga eh.
Oo. Ay, nag-video ko kahapon. Meron akong next time.
Hindi, i-ready natin yung ito, pinangako natin sa ating viewers pagdating ng Pasko, ang iyong dunk session. Doon sa baba. I-ready na natin.
Ready natin. Tapos yung sinasabi mo pala kanina, doon sa bike si Ariel Oreta. Tama ba?
Supposedly, pero very cryptic story yan, and he's denying that it actually happened. Kasi nung martial law, may slogan sila. Sa ikauunlad ng bayan, disiplina ang kailangan. Ngayon, sabi daw, merong isang show na spoof daw ni Ariel Oreta at sinabi sa ikauunlad ng bayan, bisikleta ang kailangan. So, ang urban folklore is, pinatawag daw siya ni Juan Ponce Enrile, who was then martial law administrator, at pinagbisikleta raw sa loob ng Fort Bonifacio when it was not yet a social shopping ground. Pinaikot-ikot lang daw doon buong araw. ganun pala, bisikleta pala. So, but he's denying daw, mga tinatanong siya, that it actually happened. So, sa China, well, ang revolusyon naman ni Mao Zedong no, kita mo, were led by people on bicycles. At merong isang trend sa China, tawag nila ay Bailan, ano? It's a youth movement supposedly na isa siyang form of lifestyle na ang translation ay let it rot. As a reaction to increasing government overreach daw. Ito, mga batang ito, hindi nagtatrabaho. Kasi yung point nila, bakit ka pa makikipagsabayan, kahit anong sipag ang gawin mo, ang nasusunod pa rin, limitado lang yung galaw mo because of government. So, ginagawa nila, slackers daw sila. And it's a form of rebellion para sa mga batang ito. At marami raw ang intentionally unemployed. Parang ganyan.
Okay, ito naman, nako, nothing intentional about this story. It is on CNN still. Mattel apologizes after mistakenly printing porn site on Wicked movie dolls packaging.
Di ko maintindihan. Ano ibig sabihin?
Ha?
Printing porn site.
Oo. So, basically...
Print sila ng porn site. O baka yung address. Address ng porn site.
Parang, ano ba tawag doon? Website.
Website, okay.
Address.
Kasi, okay, yung sa Mattel ay may film version yung Wicked na hindi ko napanood. Ito isang musical na pelikula. It turns out, yung www. Huwag niyong itatype ito, mga bata. Mahirap na. Wicked.com ay hindi pala yun yung movie site. Ang tamang address pala ay wickedmovie.com. Okay yan, wickedmovie.com. Ngayon, pag tinype mo yan, www, at wala yung movie, wickedlamang.com, abay, kung hindi mo kilala si Stormy Daniels, baka makilala mo na sa pagkakataong ito.
Sino si Stormy Daniels?
Hindi ko rin kilala si Stormy Daniels.
Pero nakakapagtaka,
Friend ni Donald Trump. Nakilala niyo sa golfing game.
Kasi parang ang nangyari dito is, walang nag-check, hindi nakapag-check ng maayos kung ano yung ipiprint. Either that, the last step ko, ano yung ipiprint dun sa mga packaging, or wala talaga nag-check kung ano yung wicked.com. Hindi natin alam, ano?
Na-imagine ko lang yung... Una, sinong loser ang pag nakita yung address doon sa box ng anuman, ay pupuntahan agad, di ba? Nag-google na yung mga bagay-bagay ng ngayon at ibibigay siya ng Google yung actual link. No? Ngayon, for this, well, actually, Mattel kasi yung gumagawa ng mga He-Man, yung mga noon, mga G.I. Joe na mga laruan. Ano?
Hindi na ba sila si Barbie?
Sila rin.
Sila rin,
tama,
diba?
Mattel, oo. Nagkaroon ng resurgence ang Mattel because of Barbie, no? One of the, if not the biggest grossing movie ba, tama? Of all time so far. Ngayon, itong Wicked, hindi ko napanood.
Hindi ko pa napanood eh.
Pero, ang balita ko lang daw, itong website na ito ay known for its really polished, high production values pagdating sa adult entertainment. Sabi lang sa akin ito.
Sabi lang sa'yo. Kuro-kuro lang.
Puro lang, Tapos,
sino kaya magko-confirm?
wag niyong pupunta. Nagtatrabaho pa kayo, wag niyo gagawin yan. Pero unless North Korean soldiers kayo at nanonood kayo ngayon, sabi ng isang stand-up comedian, the only time na nakakita raw sila ng cleavage ay kung naka-low-hanging shirt si Kim Jong-un.
Grabe! Grabe!
Sorry. Anyway, wag natin kakalimutan. Ang mga sites na ganito ng adult entertainment, sila ang nagdadrive ng online technology. You have to remember, one of the first streaming, mga unang nakamaster ng streaming platform, mga sites na ganito. Unang nakapag-perfect ng online transactions, payment, ay yung mga sites na ganito.
Kasi kailangan na. Pero ito, madami pa tayong storya on entertainment. Ibang klase lang naman talaga yung nabanggit natin kanina.
Balik tayo sa malinis na entertainment.
Malinis na entertainment.
Wag na yung mga pelikulang mga parody ng mga Hollywood movies. Gaya ng Womb Raider, mga ganyan.
Well, this is story back home. Showbiz royalty Andres Mulak is all set for his new project. And guess who danced to one of Beanie's phenomenal hits? Let's find out from News 5 correspondent MJ Marfori.
Aarangkada ng solo career na heartthrob na si Andres Mulak. Bukod sa TV5 sitcom ng pamilya Mulak na The Purse Family, bibida pa si Andres sa adaptation ng Wattpad hit na Ang Mutya ng Section E.
Definitely it's all very new kasi it's a different style of acting. It's a lot less jokes because it's not pang sitcom, pang comedy. But it's all really a new learning experience and I'm really happy that I get to experience all of this.
May mahigit 300 million reads online ang Wattpad series na ito. Gaganap dito si Andres bilang si Kiefer at makakasama niyang ang up-and-coming actress na si Ashton Olvega bilang si JJ. As a wholesome gentleman pa rin si Andres na madalas ngayon tuksohin sa tambalan nila ni Ashteen.
It's a blessing talaga and I get to work with a very talented person that is Ashteen. I still have to keep it professional because she's a great actor.
Napapanood si Andres sa The Purse Family every Sunday, 7:15 p.m. sa TV5. Abangan naman ang bago niyang proyekto soon sa Viva One. Another proud moment para sa Beanie fandom. Ang latest hit kasi ng grupo na Cherry on Top, pinatugtog lang naman sa NBA halftime show sa laban ng LA Clippers versus Toronto Raptors. Sinabayan ito ng sayaw ng official dance team ng LA Clippers sa harap ng libo-libong audience. At ang mas nakakatuwa pa, 5 sa Clippers spirit ay Pilipina.
Pinabati po natin lahat ng nanonood sa Afternoon Delight via live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. At habang kumakain si Tita Denise.
Wala pa nga eh.
Oh, sige na, Tita Denise.
Hanap tayo ng comments.
Ako bahala muna sa mga... Oy! Yan!
Ang lakas, di ba?
Sumasayaw ka kanina, no? Kaya nakatuod yung cellphone mo, no? Opo. Hello po sa viewers natin. Of course, si Alex Fuentes, nakatutok ngayon yan. At hindi na nagpaparamdam si Lucifer Satanas.
Alam mo, iba ang paramdam ngayon sa Facebook. Si Tito Rafael.
Si Cho Rafi. Si Tito Rap.
Oo. Good afternoon, Delight. Tito Lourdes and Tita Denise. Shout out sa mga kapwa ko. Team Replay ng Afternoon Delight.
Merong commenter ng pangalan niyo. Matamis, mahaba, masarap. God bless us. Amen. Tapos may siya. May icon at may emoji ng saging. Ano kaya ibig sabihin na to?
Titikim
baka yun yung sinasabi niya. Hey, Epic, kasalanan ng designer yan. Di man lang dinouble check yung QR. He. Oo, masaya ang start ng araw pag napapanood ko kayo. Grabe ngayon kailang gumigising.
Sana all.
Grabe ka naman. Baka naman, bailan, parang sa China rin to. Sabi ni Rodel Alcantara, Ma'am ganda, nagbabalik from 1 week grind.
Chap ng gulay. 1 week grind.
Baka siya. Oo. Alex Fuentes, of course. At meron dito, trademark Race of the Third Power Pilipinas. Sa totoo lang, Tito Lourdes. Ano kaya ibig niya sabihin?
Okay, sige.
Kine-question niya ba yung aking pagkadalisay? Anyway, mga kapatid, mamaya po itutuloy natin mga pabati po ninyo, mga comments ninyo. Pero may sasabihin mo na si Tita Denise habang, okay ka na ba? Nalulun mo na.
Medyo nalulun ko na, okay. 2 huge firms have joined forces to form a digital factory. The aim? Boost the digital product development of the MVP group of companies. Here's the story from Mobile Journal, Amy Atienza.
Kayang-kaya na maabot ang endless possibilities sa collaboration ng Kayana Solutions at Accenture Philippines. It's official, Kayana Solutions and Accenture Philippines held a contract signing yesterday for their upcoming strategic collaboration. The two companies aim to build a digital factory that will help in accelerating the digital product development of the MVP group of companies.
Very, very, very excited because we only partner with the best, and Accenture is the best. You look it up, and they have the experience, and they have the capability, and most importantly, we trust working with them.
Their partnership is also expected to address the digital requirements of MVP-led businesses. This includes Kayana's improvements on the 360-degree customer's view on affiliated companies, AI-powered assistance for business services, and a unified platform to further create a connected household management among Filipinos. On the other hand, Accenture will play on its roles for brand strategy, product research, and a better user experience for Kayana. This will be pursued by the Accenture Song Creative Group.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say how incredibly excited we are to be part of this kind of partnership. It's what we see this as being is the next wave of innovation across the Philippines.
In the long run, the collaboration will not only benefit MVP Group of companies, but will also help other local enterprises and even consumers.
It's an open platform. This should be all-inclusive naman eh. Hindi lang naman just for the group. We need to gain the experience ourselves, but then once we do achieve a certain level of knowledge and experience, then we will open it up to everyone.
Currently, Kayana Solutions is owned by PLDT Incorporated, Manila Electric Company, and Metro Pacific Investments Corporation, all led by Manny V. Pangilinan. Mobile journalist Amy Atienza, We Are One News.
Alright, time out muna kami. Marami pa kaming kwento sa inyo. Magbabalik po ang Afternoon Delight.
President-elect Donald Trump has started to fill key positions in his second administration. So far, he's put an emphasis on aides and allies who were his strongest backers during the 2024 presidential campaign. Here's who he selected so far. Susie Wiles was a senior advisor to Trump's 2024 campaign and was picked as his chief of staff last week. Tom Homan is set to become Trump's border czar. He served as the acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement in his last administration and will be in charge of the nation's borders. Earlier this year, Trump said, "I will run the biggest deportation operation this country's ever seen." New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik has been selected to be an ambassador to the United Nations. If confirmed, she would represent U.S. interests at the UN as Trump vows to end the war waged by Russia against Ukraine. He's also called for peace as Israel continues its offensive against Hamas in Gaza and its invasion of Lebanon to target Hezbollah. And Trump's longtime advisor, Stephen Miller, has been appointed Deputy Chief of Policy in his new administration. Miller is one of Trump's longest-serving aides and has been a central figure in many of his policy decisions, particularly in Trump's decision to separate thousands of immigrant families as a deterrence program in 2018.
Nagbabalik po ang Afternoon Delight dito po sa One News. Ako po si Lourdes de Vera.
At ako naman po si Denise Tan. Thank you for staying with us. Severe tropical storm Nika is about to exit the Philippine area of responsibility as tropical storm Ophel intensifies. Nika was last spotted 225 kilometers west-northwest of Lawag City, Ilocos Norte. Ophel, on the other hand, was spotted 950 kilometers east of southeastern Luzon. Signal number 1 is still up over some areas in Luzon due to Nika, which will leave Par this afternoon. As for Ophel, it is forecast to make landfall over northern or central Luzon on Thursday. Areas in northern Luzon are also at risk of heavy rainfall, severe wind, and possible storm surges.
Severe tropical storm Nika has left a trail of destruction in the province of Isabela. And News 5 correspondent Mon Gualvez was there to report.
Naglipara ng mga natuklap na yero at iba pang gamit sa lakas ng hanging dala ng bagyong Nika sa Alicia, Isabela. Ang mga puno halos mabunot din sa lupa. Ang ilan sinusubukan pang talian ng mga bubong para hindi tuluyang liparin.
Sinasabayan ng malalakas na hampas ng hangin itong buhos ng ulan. Kaya naman yung bawat tubig na tumatama sa balat ay mahapde na para kang hinihiwa dahil sa lakas ng hangin.
Nag-zero visibility din ang kalsada sa lakas ng ulan. Pero ang ilan, saka palang lumikas ng bahain na ang kanilang lugar.
Ang alam namin po hindi ganun kalakas po, hindi ganito kalakas. Ang alam namin hindi maalis yung bubong namin.
Ang grupo namang ito, naghahanap pa ng masasalbang gamit ng itumba ng bagyo ang kanilang buong tindahan.
Kaya nga sir, pagtiyagaan na lang sir kasi kung hindi namin kukunin baka kinabukasan wala na to.
Sa Kawayan City, nagkasira-sira pa ang bakod na ito. Hindi na rin makita ang Alicoco Bridge dahil umapaw ng tubig sa ilog. Stranded tuloy ang mga motorista papuntang East Tabacal portion. Sa bayan ng Etiague, nagkalat sa open grounds ng munisipyo ang ilang nilipad na gamit mula sa peryahan. Aabot na sa mahigit 4,000 pamilya o halos 14,000 individual ang nagsilikas dahil sa bagyo.
hindi na katulad nung previous years na konting ulan, kaagad nababaha yung mga kabahayan. Pero now, ang tubig nag-i-stay talaga doon sa fields, sa mga taniman.
Sa Bagao, Cagayan, gumuho naman ang bahay na ito malapit sa ilog sa Barangay Zone 7, Taguntungan. Hindi rin nakaligtas sa mga bahay sa Sitio Maros, Hacienda Intal nang ragasain sila ng tubig mula sa bundok. Sa Aurora, nagsagawa ng preemptive evacuation sa mga lugar na high risk sa pagbaha, landslide at mga nakatira malapit sa ilog at dagat. Tinatayang higit 2,000 pamilya ang kinailangang ilikas. Hinatiran na rin ng food packs ang mga nangangailangan sa 8 bayan ng probinsya. Nababahala naman si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa sunod-sunod na pagdating ng mga super typhoon sa bansa. Pero pagtitiyak niya, nakaposisyon na mga pagkain at heavy equipment sa mga lugar na apektado ng bagyong Nika. Kabilang na riyan ang Aurora, Isabela at iba pang lugar sa North at Central Luzon.
We actually managed to prepare. We've done the usual standard procedure where we have sent, pre-positioned our equipment and our relief goods. And we will just have to see where the areas are that will be particularly hit.
Binabalanse rin umano ng pamahalaan ng pagsasaayos ng mga nasirang infrastruktura sa nagdaang bagyong Christine.
Mag-isip-isip tayo kasi kung aayusin natin, tapos sisirain na naman ang susunod na bagyo, sayang lang yung ating ginawa. So kailangan natin magplano. Pero yung mga tao, kailangan na may kuryente, kailangan na may food supply, kailangan na may tubig, kailangan na ayusin ang kanilang bahay.
Let's now check in on Ilocos after severe tropical storm Nika's onslaught. And we have News 5 correspondent Brian Basa over the phone. Brian, okay, nasan ka ngayon mismo sa Ilocos? At kamusta na ba ang panahon dyan ngayon?
Hi, Lord and Denise. Narinig ko yung sarili ko dito sa phone. Pero yes, maganda na at maliwalas na ang panahon dito sa Ilocos Norte. Pati rin actually sa Ilocos Sur. When we left sa Vigan City kanina, may pasok na doon sa lalawigan. Hindi na nag-suspend ng province-wide itong si Governor Jerry Singson. Parang kanina umaga, if I read it correctly, parang up to the LGUs kung magsususpend pa sila. Pero as far as the capital is concerned, may pasok na sa government offices. Kaya nakausap din natin kanina siya. No? Sabi naman niya, nakipasasalamat ng Ilocos Sur government dahil na parang dumaan lang yung bagyong Nika at hindi ganun kabagsik. So masaya rin daw ang mga residente, especially those who evacuated early ahead of the storm dahil nga, diba natatanda natin na forced evacuation ang ginawa ni Governor Singson doon sa mga areas na prone to flooding. So dito sa Ilocos Norte, we are still on the road because we are on our way to Tugigaraw City, Cagayan. Dito, ganun din ang sitwasyon. Marami na rin tao sa labas. Balik normal na ang buhay. Yun nga, when we look at the cloud or when we look at the sky, medyo maulap pa ng konti. Marami pang tayo nakikitang ulap. But at least we see medyo maliwanag na may konting aninag na ng araw.
Oo. Okay, so walang mga casualties na na-report or mga damaged property, infrastructure, etc., mga taniman?
As far as we're concerned, when we asked the provincial disaster management officials, everyone is safe. So that's something to be thankful for. However, dun sa Ilocos Sur PDRRMO, ang sabi nila, merong isang bahay na partially damaged sa bayan ng Suyo. Ang nangyari daw doon ay nabagsakan ng puno ng mangga. So yun yung nakikitang damage sa infrastructure and then nagkaroon ng impassable road doon. If I'm not mistaken, yung Quirino Bridge doon sa Ilocos Sur. Pero yun naman daw kasi ay spillway yon. So normal na nangyayari yon kapag may baha. So speaking of that, ang tanong natin kay Governor, so ano ang long-term solution dyan? Ang sabi ni Governor is kailangan i-dredge yung river, which will take about 5 years to finish.
Mm-hmm. Brian, aside from the Quirino Bridge that you mentioned, meron pa bang ibang areas na nalubog sa baha? And to go back to what you mentioned earlier also, yung mga nag-evacuate, are they staying in the evacuation centers? Ilan na ba yung numero ng mga taong nandun ngayon?
As of this morning, ang tally nila umabot sa 2,500. That's 5,000 plus affected people, no? Kasi pag nagbilang sila, affected individuals ang tinitingnan talaga para makita ko yung extent ng effect ng typhoon or ng storm. Pero ang sabi ng PDRMO, as soon as the sun shone, as soon as tumikat yung araw this morning, nag-uwi na yung mga tao from the evacuation center. So as of now, wala nang mananatili roon. Sorry, Denise, what was the other question?
Aside from Quirino Bridge, ano pa, that was impassable. Ano pa yung mga areas na may nalubog pa ba sa baha?
Ayun, okay. So, I guess we can attribute it to the quick movement of Nika nung palabas siya ng bansa. Kasi walang binaha naman, thankfully, sa Ilocos Sur. Yun ang pinangangabahan kasi nila noong una because Ilocos Sur is a catch basin, including Vigan City. So, they're thankful na hindi na binaha doon sa residential areas, except lang doon sa Bridge of Pertan, spillway yun. Pero yun, doon sila napapasalamat na hindi na masyadong nagdulot ng damage itong Nika.
Oo, kasi ang talagang napuruhan dito ay Isabela at Aurora, Brian, no? Sa Cagayan, papunta kayo doon, may mga naiuulat ba? Kaya kayo patungo doon sa Cagayan ngayon?
Yes, as early as now, we are getting reports of flash floods. Nakakakita na ako ng social media videos, user-generated videos ng flash floods sa may bandang Gonzaga. If you remember Gonzaga, from our past coverage ng Super Bagyong Leon, isa yan sa mga apektadong lugar, yung madaling bahain. Kumbaga, dahil doon bumabagsak yung tubig galing sa Sierra Madre. So, sana pagdating natin doon, tingnan natin kung gaano kabilis humupa yung baha. Kasi, according to the people that we speak to there, pagkadaan ng baha, it usually takes a day bago humupa ito. Pero yun na, mukhang malala yung pagragasa ng tubig baha roon. Also, apart from that, I think pati sa Tugigaraw, particularly sa barangay Centro G or Centro 10, pag binasa ninyo sa social media yan, lubog yung isang buong barangay na yon. So, hopefully, pagdating natin doon, maabutan natin yan at makumusta natin agad ang mga residente.
At wag natin kalimutan ng Gonzaga, Cagayan, ang birthplace si Manong JPE, Johnny Juan Ponce Enrile. Pero maraming salamat at ingat-ingat ka pa rin. News 5 correspondent Brian Basa nag-ulat live mula sa Ilocos. Thank you, Brian. And moving on to another story, Monday's hearing at the House of Representatives on the alleged fund misuse at the Office of the Vice President. And here's the wrap from News 5 correspondent Marian Enriquez.
5 officials from the Office of the Vice President finally attended today's House Committee on Good Government hearing over the agency's confidential fund spending. Among them are OVP Director for Administrative and Financial Services Rosaline Sanchez and Chief Accountant Julieta Villa del Rey, who have been subpoenaed before. Also in attendance were Chief Administrative Officer Kevin Jerome Tenido and Budget Division OIC Edeline Rabago. However, Attorney Emily Rose Torrentira, OVP Legal Affairs Division Chief, refused to take the oath, just like Vice President Sara Duterte weeks ago.
I am not an invited resource person. Second, that I have only been asked now to explain why there was no receipt for subpoena for the persons who are not present here.
Torrentira was reportedly the one who refused to receive the panel's summons for OVP personnel. Turns out she also doesn't have authorization from the OVP itself to speak to the committee. So the committee had her escorted out of the hearing. As for the remaining attendees, they were grilled about the good governance program of the OVP. Former Vice President Leni Robredo used to run a similar program, but lawmakers pointed out that the difference was VP Sara's used confidential expenses.
Please enlighten us. Bakit po pagdating sa programa, same program, good governance program of Vice President Duterte, biglang nagkaroon ng confidential fund, biglang nagkaroon ng maintenance of safe houses?
But all OVP officials present said they had no personal knowledge on how the confidential expenses were used.
Your Honor, the budget was proposed by the Office of the Vice President, and it would be for different programs, Your Honor. But as to the details, Your Honor, I do not have information on the specific details and items to be spent under the confidential expense.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, wala po akong knowledge doon sa disbursement and utilization ng confidential funds.
House lawmakers also questioned why there was medical and food aid worth around 40 million pesos in the confidential expenses of the OVP, when there were similar line items in the rest of the expense accounting.
Hindi ko lang maintindihan po, bakit kailangan pa mag-utilize ng confidential fund if may existing na kayo na programa for food and medical assistance?
I have no knowledge about that. What I know, Your Honor, is that the confidential funds are intended for a different set of beneficiaries, or it is for a different purpose, Your Honor.
But then the committee also noticed almost 1 million pesos in medical aid that went to just one person, despite them saying there's a 50,000 peso cap in assistance.
The Office of the Vice President submitted. And in one of these tulong na binigay nila in terms of purchase of provision of medical and food aid is in the amount of 1 million pesos. No? So if the theory supposedly was that we are to cap the medical assistance at 50 para mas marami yung matulungan, bakit may isang medical assistance na umabot ng 1 million pesos?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but I do not have information on that.
Okay.
According to the OVP officials who attended, it was Special Disbursing Officer Gina Acosta who would know the details of the Confi funds. However, she is currently in the OVP satellite office in Mindanao. Acosta reports directly to VP Sara's Chief of Staff, Zulaika Lopez, who was also subpoenaed but was still a no-show at today's hearing. In a letter submitted to the committee, she said she has to take care of an aunt in the U.S. who is hospitalized and has no other relative or caretaker to look after her. Some congressmen, however, didn't buy this.
Siya lang ba po ba yung pamangkin ng tita niya? Wala na po ba ibang pamangkin? Wala na po ba siyang asawa na padadala? Because we are tackling so much issues about her. And this is a clear evasion, Mr. Chairman. I hope this is true. Because if this is not true, and we will be able to validate.
In the end, the committee agreed to give Lopez one last chance. She was issued another subpoena for next week's hearing. But as for the four others, including Acosta, the committee has cited them all in contempt despite their excuses. 3 witnesses said Sunshine Fajardo was the one who provided them monthly cash envelopes, while her husband, Edward, was supposedly the disbursing officer. Meanwhile, Ortonio is one of 2 officials who signed the checks payments linked to the confidential funds.
Medyo nakakapagtaka dahil pare-parehas silang umalis. Pare-parehas silang may travel order. Pare-parehas silang pinahintulutan na umalis sa araw na may hearing tayo. Now, it makes me think that there's actually a malicious intent behind all these reasons and travel orders given to them, just so that they can, again, avoid attending today's hearing, Mr. Chair.
For News 5, I'm Marian Enriquez. We are One News.
But in a press conference yesterday, the Vice President defended the non-showing of her staff at the House hearing. She said there was no deliberate intention to snub the inquiry, which she still believes is politically motivated.
That is not true. In-explain ko na kanina, no? Walang mali siya yan. Meron kaming OVP anniversary sa November, 89th anniversary sa November 15. So marami sa mga personnel dahil sa central office nagpunta sa mga satellite offices dahil lahat ng satellite offices meron silang Thanksgiving, iba't ibang activities ng Thanksgiving.
Here now is a quick rundown of more stories on One News. Former President Rodrigo Duterte will attend the House Quad Committee's hearing on the war on drugs, which was initially set for tomorrow. That's according to his former Chief Legal Counsel, Salvador Panelo. However, Quad panel leaders announced today that the hearing will be moved to November 21. The court has granted medical furlough to detained Kingdom of Jesus Christ leader Apollo Kibuloy. The preacher was rushed to the PNP General Hospital on November 7 due to chest pains and later on transferred to the Philippine Heart Center. The PNP says Kibuloy is now feeling better and is now heavily guarded. Senator Amy Marcos questions the Maharlika Investment Corporation's supposed lack of concrete plans. That's during the budget deliberations for the Department of Energy. But budget sponsor Win Gatchalian defends MIC, saying it's still in the early stages of operation. Oil companies have implemented a hefty increase in the prices of fuel products today. Diesel prices are up by 2 pesos and 10 centavos, gasoline by 1 peso and 10 centavos, and kerosene by 1 peso and 20 centavos per liter. And Meralco has announced a power rate increase of 42 centavos per kilowatt hour this November due to higher generation charge. This brings the overall rate to 11 pesos and 85 centavos per kWh. Typical households consuming 200 kilowatt hours monthly will see an 85 peso increase in their total bill.
And you're still watching Afternoon Delight on One News. It's time for another breather, and we will be right back.
November 12th, 1927. Joseph Stalin becomes undisputed ruler of what's then the Soviet Union. His rival, Leon Trotsky, is expelled from the Communist Party. More than a dozen years later, Trotsky is killed with an ice pick while in exile in Mexico. Stalin is widely believed to have arranged the murder. His repressive rule lasts for more than a quarter century. 1942. During World War II, the naval battle of Guadalcanal begins in the South Pacific. That's where the United States and its allies win a major victory over the Japanese. 1815. Elizabeth Cady Stanton, a leader in the movement to give American women the right to vote, is born in Johnstown, New York. 1929.
Don't try to be a hero. You don't have to be a hero, not for me.
Grace Kelly, the Hollywood movie star who became Princess of Monaco, is born in Philadelphia. And 1945, Neil Young, singer and songwriter, is born in Toronto, Canada. Today in history, November 12th, Camille Lohan, The Associated Press.
And we're back. You're watching Afternoon Delight. Ako po si Denise Tan.
Ako naman po si Lord De Vera.
Toyota Motor Philippines holds the last leg of this year's Toyota Gazoo Race Cup PH. Here's the report.
This year's Toyota Gazoo Racing Philippine Cup has reached its finale. The weekend 3 and last leg of the country's premier race took place on November 9. All the excitement happened at the Clark International Speedway in Pampanga. The racing formats included the sprint and endurance races. Both pushed drivers to their limits, tested their grit and their will to win on the track and beyond. Named overall winner for the super sporting class was Inigo Anton, Alain Alzona for sporting class, and Bong Garabes for promotional class. As for the novice class, the winner was Russell Reyes, who was a top performance awardee in the previous leg.
I'm just glad I managed to pull it off and win the championship. I will never forget it ever in my whole life because it's my first time. I am very happy and this is super amazing for me.
Aside from the races, the event also featured several activities. Andy T., Assistant Vice President of Marketing Services of Toyota Motor Philippines, shared some of the highlights of this racing season.
We have introduced an endurance race, which makes things a little bit more interesting. But in addition to that, we also have our display of GR performance cars.
He also called on racing enthusiasts to stay tuned for more exciting events.
We plan to up the ante a little bit, make it even more thrilling. 2025 will bring a load of new opportunities, so please stay tuned on our social media to find more updates.
Oy, babala naman sa mga mahihilig sa social media. Naku, nawala ng awat, huwag click lang ng click ng mga post dahil yung ilan dyan, yung tinatawag na clickbait. At gusto lang kumuha, hindi lang ng attention mo, kundi pati impormasyon tungkol sa inyo. Magbabalita ang mobile journal na si Mariamon Reyes.
Nakakalibang ang mag-browse ng mga social media content. Yun nga lang, sinasamantala rin ito ng iba para makapangloko. Nakadaan na ba sa newsfeed nyo ang mga post na may larawang kapag pinindot nyo ay mapupunta kayo bigla sa mga website o applications? Hindi kayo nagkamali ng pindot. Sadyang mayroong link ang litrato. Ayon sa isang IT consultant at cybersecurity expert, social media poisoning ang tawag dito kung saan nakikisabay ang ilang content creators sa mga viral na usapin, nagpo-post ng picture at oras na mayroong pumindot nito ay mariredirect ang tao sa isa pang online platform. Ang catch, nakakakuha ng komisyon ng mga online sellers o shopping affiliates gamit ang ataking ito dahil link sa online products ang laman ng karamihan dito.
Yung dati, nung hindi pa yung tulad nung ngayon na may letter I, no, may tulad yan ng type na click here for the full story. And then meron yung dati, yung see more, tapos pag-click mo ng see more, then sa iba din napupunta. Dinadaya nila yung embed na link ng social media ngayon, no?
Minsan pa ay pinuputol ang mga litrato para mahikayat ang netizens na pindutin ito. Harmless man kung titingnan sa una ang ganitong gawain, ang worst case scenario raw, maaari itong gamitin upang manghack ng accounts dahil posibleng makuha ang browser data at cyber information ng isang tao sa sandaling mahulog sila sa pain ng social media poisoning. Pwede rin daw mauwi sa pag-install ng virus sa mga gadgets kapag hindi nag-ingat, kaya labis na paalala sa lahat, maging masinop at mapagmatsyag.
So kapag may letter I, you can actually click it para makita nyo muna na is it safe to visit ba. Pero kung social media poisoning ang usapan, pag nakita nyo na yung letter I, much better na wag nyo na lang i-click.
At para naman sa mga gumagamit ng interes ng tao upang kumita o manloko, huwag gamitin ang maiinit na balita o chismis para lang sa pera.
Talagang against the policy ito ng ilang mga e-commerce platform, no, o yung mga online shopping platform kasi nga it's a deceptive advertisement, no. So siguro might as well try to lessen yung ganong klaseng strategy kasi the moment naman na malaman ng online shopping platform yung ginagawa nila, mawawalan din sila ng kabuhayan.
Hindi naman daw masamang mag-market ng mga produkto online para kumita. Pero hindi rin dapat ginagamit ang kapangyarihan ng teknolohiya upang manlinlang o manloko ng tao. Mobile Journal, Mariamon Reyes po, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
Eto na, titingnan ko yung relo ko, sasabihin kong oras na. Ulit, para sa inyong paboritong isaw. Very zen ang ating theme ngayon. Ang theme natin ngayon ay walang theme edition. Walang theme na theme.
Okay.
Labo na sinabi ko, walang theme na theme. Diba, theme A, anong favorite theme mo sa PBA?
Sige, move on.
Mga larawang ito ay mula sa ating masugid na taga-subaybay na si Magsi Alcantara. Magsi, maraming salamat. What would we do without you? First, photograph.
Sure bowl.
Sorry, hindi ko na-gets.
Sure bowl. Basketball eh. Sure bowl of rice.
Ang niya
ay rice cooker.
Rice cooker yan. Paano naging bowl yung pakialamero? Okay.
Sure bowl.
Yan, one rice lang. Next. Sa jeep mo lang pwedeng ipagsiksikan ang sarili mo.
May ganon, hugot.
Actually, kahit sa jeep, hindi mo pwede pagsiksikan sarili mo. Sa panahon ngayon, invasion of personal space na yan.
11-11 lang. Naabutan ko pa yung 11-11.
Bago na yan, pito-pito lang panahon namin.
Totoo ba?
Yes.
Pahirapan na pala ng panahon ko.
O yung pampito pa, mahuhulog na yon pag malaki pa yung wet packs. Next photograph. Aba, Starbucks. Sa wakas, nakatikim na rin ng SB. Sopas sa baso.
Kahit saan pa yung sopas na yan, kahit ako, papalagang ko rin yan.
Yun palang shorthand for Starbucks, SB?
SB, correct.
Di ba Seattle's best SB din?
SB din, oo.
Sinasadya ba nila yun?
Hindi ko alam.
Iloloko nila tayo, At Gusto ko ikaw magsabi nito. Baka
Sige.
sabihin naman na freaky pag ako, di ba?
Sige, we do hope to meet Muggsy Alcantara soon sa maayos na paraan po.
Ay, ba't may ganun agad?
Joke lang, Muggsy. Thank you so much for always tuning in and watching Afternoon Delight. No? At syempre, salamat rin po sa lahat ng ating mga tagapanood. Magparamdam din po sana kayo by sending us your signs at afternoondelighton@gmail.com.
Si Tito Rafael, a.k.a.
Tito Rafael,
Uncle
kay
Paeng.
Lord ka
Hindi, dapat fan mo yun eh. So dapat magpadala ka rin ng mga pictures.
Tito Rafael, bakit di mo subukan palitan yung name mo?
Ano, rap?
Nang mas Hindi, ito challenge ko kay Tito Rafael. Palitan mo yung name mo, tapos tignan mo kung mabiktima mo ulit ako. Baka mabiktima ulit ako. Sabi, feel ko na.
Pael, Rafi, rap.
Ay, nako. Okay, that will do it for us this Tuesday, November 12. Thank you for watching Afternoon Delight. Ako po si Denise Tan.
Okay, join us again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Lourdes de Vera po ang inyong lingkod. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.